Hello, everybody. Welcome to Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. It's 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and we're here to paint. Of course, that's what we do. We always get in here, and we always have fun, and we all got nothing here. You're not hearing that, Gamers Web UK? Get in here. Hopefully, you joined in last Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for one Mr. Willischick painting his Green Goblin, which I have mine started, but he's painting his, so, and it looks really dope. I'm just painting mine on the side. Unfortunately, that means you have to watch me paint one Miss Ghost Spider and one Mr. Spiderman that way. So anyways, let's get cracking. Let's talk about hashtag painting protocol though. Hashtag painting protocol is Black Order this month. We're seeing a ton of Thanos, which is awesome. Thanos looks super cool. We love seeing everybody's builds. We love seeing everybody's take on the Mad Titan himself and the throne, and it's just very cool. He's super fun miniature to paint, assemble, and play. So it's awesome seeing everybody's Thanos's. But remember on Instagram, throw us those hashtag painting protocols Black Orders so we can pick our favorites, and we're gonna show some more of last month's challenge, which was textures, here in the stream, but that's later. It's much later. Right now, let's have fun and paint. Let's do it. Click, bink. So last time on Atomic Mass Transmissions, we painted our Miles. If you remember, I did a Zenith, and then I did a wash with a blue, the Hold Your Blue, and then I added shadows with black. This gives me that nice dynamic blue to black. I think I'm just going to highlight this once, and I'm going to call this done. I went ahead and finished the, didn't finish, I still got the front of the mailbox. Went and did the mailbox off camera. And this is just some nice, like, Scale 75 has a turquoise and some nice blues. I put a little brown in there. So like brown is a wonderful addition to the deep shadows of your blues. So you mix a little blue in with your darkest, or mix a little brown in with your darkest blue. I prefer cold browns. If you don't understand the difference between a cold brown and a warm brown, there's a couple different browns in the Scale 75 set, and like lots of different paints, but like a warm brown has those red tones, those maybe a little bit on the orange, and then a cold brown typically has like a lot of greens in it, or maybe even a little bit of blue, and you can see the temperature difference. It does affect when you mix it. So like here, by mixing a little cold brown in with the blue, I get this nice shadow, and and I purposely didn't blend it great. I want it to look a little dingy, right? This is some, this is a battlefield, right? This is where the combat's going down. So wanted that little grunge in there. So let's just go ahead and start highlighting. I got my Hold Your Blue, and I got my wet palette out. So once again, I'm kind of flying a little blind on the color names for speed. So I got like a cold little frosty blue mixed with my Hold Your Blue, and I'm just going to get in here and I'm going to give him some of those wonderful highlights to like accentuate. Somewhere like superheroes, it's really nice, right? Because like I'm not one that like highlights around every element. I go for more of where does light fall. right? So like you can see here, there's light falling on this edge. You have to forgive my voice if I slur speech a little bit. I went to a dentist yesterday. But I didn't put a highlight down here, right? Because that's not where light is gonna hit. Can't put a little highlight. There we go. So same thing with these superhero costumes. Like you want to kind of highlight. I don't know why I highlight those fingers, as those are not even black. So like if I throw a little highlight on the top of his toe here with the edge of my brush, I'm using the edge of my brush, it accentuates that, but I'm not doing it down here on the bottom. If you wanted to, you can do a bounce light of like maybe a different color. So like let's maybe add a little magenta. So we're just going crazy. I'm just going crazy. Maybe we put a little magenta. Magenta is a warm color, which contrasts against the coolness of the blue. And that's like a little bounce light. And it adds that shape of the foot there. It defines the back of the foot that's in shadow, but it doesn't make it light. It just changes the tone. Can you see that? It lets my foot stand out without it being actually highlighted with that real bright blue that's up on the top of the toe. So it gives you an ability to define an element without just willy-nilly throwing a highlight around the entire element. We're just getting stuck right in and just having fun with this. So I want to kind of bring back some of that magenta, and I'm going to put it on this back toe. Right, it's almost the same value as the regular blue and the black, and that keeps it from being like a dramatic stark highlight, but it lets you define the volume, and that's very important in miniatures, is defining that volume. I took a 3-day class on that a while back. It was great. A lot of information. You can even do it, like say maybe here. And I'm on the underside now, so I'm trying to make sure you can see what I'm doing. That's why I'm not using my little standy stand, because I want to get on the underside of this miniature and show you guys this. So this is, like I said, this is not a highlight per se, because it's not super high value, but it's a different temperature than the blue, which adds contrast, and it's in the darkest area, which adds contrast, so it lets me define that. Please let me know if that made sense. I test all my classes out on you guys first. So what do we got going on in chat? Anything fun happening yet? I just got right in on the painting, so sorry. So now, this blue highlight has a much higher value. And value just means like the brightness, right? It's a higher value. And I want that because I want that sharpness. I want that like point where the costume is really being reflective. Right, it's really good, like right here where that leg crease is, you have that really dark line, and then the top of the calf, you put a really bright line, and that really is dramatic. Chris Bandit Squad says Groot so much brown. I mean, one of the secrets to painting Groot is to like throw in the other colors in there, some greens, you know, maybe throw in a little ochre, you know, like Groot wants a lot of colors, right? Go back to I'm going to turn this down just a bit. That value is a little too high. I'm going to bring that down just a touch. Hello everybody, I'm glad you're joining us today. Hopefully you're staying safe and being wonderful people. I mean, you're all wonderful people. So this arm here is not as prominent as the top of this leg or the top of that arm. So I toned it down to reduce the value. So I get a more dynamic highlight. Right? It's not just the same value all over. I'm changing the value over the miniature. And that's not perfect. I don't care about perfect on this. Just trying to paint a cool little Miles. It's got some little muscles there. I just want to like just little accentuations. You don't gotta be perfect. I'm not dealing with perfect. So I can turn that down one more time. Just highlight that lat. Just blend that out. And then maybe across the lower back just a little bit. Just to put a little light there. Of course, that ankle bone. You gotta accentuate that ankle bone. That's what really defines the foot. Especially like on superheroes. Hello, Miss Half Damage. How you doing? Especially on these like superhero foots where they don't actually have like toes and stuff. I'm kind of out of focus. I apologize. Don't necessarily have toes. They're kind of the costumes are designed with these like almost like full footies. So you want to like accentuate that that bone and ankle to define that foot. Makes it look really nice. So there you go. You just define that top of that leg right against that dark crevice, and you just get that nice definition. Gamers Web UK, I really hope we get a mini soon and a superhero landing pose, no matter how tough it is on these. I mean, Ant-Man is pretty darn close to the superhero landing pose, don't you think? All right, we're gonna throw like a little highlight right in each one of these squares on the chest, on the head. Nothing fancy. Nothing fancy. Just a little highlight. Right there in each square. Now this is not necessary. You know, you don't have to put these little highlights in. It's up to you. I'll just add a little white to increase the value. Don't forget, if you have any questions, just let me know. That's what the chat's for. There we go. Now his head's got that couple little dots, right? Alright, I'm going to use a sanguine, which is just like wine, right? Nice red wine. And I'm going to paint my webbing in his fingers, because I don't know, like I said, I don't know why I highlight his fingers. His fingers are actually red. For a single. I'm using very little paint on the brush here. I plan on painting these webs in 3 steps. The first step is the sanguine color. Second step will be red, like a true fire truck red. And then a very tiny highlight just on the top. This. And the sanguine is just here to give me depth. You could skip this step very easily. I'm using very little paint on the brush. Spider's red too, right? So I put him in a real awkward position. I want to use that side and that tip of the brush. Alright, so you put the miniature in the position you need. Just like that. Agent Orange, yes, I will be teaching some painting classes at the Gen Cons. Are those up? Does everybody know what they are? Well, we'll have fun with those. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun. When am I getting a mic, Tim? That's, you know, why don't you ask Josh that? Josh, where's my mic? These poor people have to turn their TVs all the way up to hear me. And we all know I'm loud. Off memory, does anybody know? Is Is the ring around his lenses red? I can't remember from the. Whoops. Just clean that up. Would a mic help if when I keep the second brush in my mouth? No, probably not, because that second brush is always there. Oh, the eye ring is red? Okay, thanks. If it's not, it is now. I'm trusting you, chat. If I get this wrong, I get fired, you know, so my life is in your hands. So I really grip up on these whenever I get these fine details. It's okay to touch the measure. Some people get afraid to touch the measure. I'm not. Chick's got my back. He won't let me mess it up. Because we're on the same team. Whoops. So that second brush is for kids. Just like that. Easy peasy. Woo! More meetings. You've been in meetings all day. It's alright, I got one after this too. My life has just become meetings. So right now it's not very stark, right? You know, I'm just getting that like depth in there. Oh yeah, last year we piggybacked off our companion studio FFG because no one was expecting us. But this year we're gonna have our own little thing. Hope you're all ready. I'm just gonna go ahead and say you haven't even seen us in our final form. Y'all better be ready for the ride. Did I get a shit comment? So this is This is patience and practice to get this, but it's well worth it. It's well worth it. I'm excited about stuff like how far in advance that I work. I'm excited about stuff like, oh boy. I live so far in the future. Like it takes a long time and a lot of steps to make miniatures, so these things are done a long time in advance. Okay. Sorry, I gotta get a drink. Thank you, Paladin. I appreciate it. Alright, let's start our miles. So I'm gonna grab a little, like, primary red, fire truck red, whatever you want to call it. It's, I grabbed the Fantasy Bow Crimson. I'm gonna, oh, hang on. I missed the back side of this. Let's get that real quick. Sorry, it's about being happy about your painting, not anything else. Like unless you're coming to a competition, and that's a different philosophy and a mindset. You know, here on this show, you know, we're talking about, you know, getting your miniatures ready to paint for playing a game with your friends, and ooh, I about dropped my brush. You know, and just learning to be happy with what you're doing, right? You're not, we're not trying to compare ourselves to others, right? Everybody is on different points of the same path, right? So just because, you know, you see me do something or Brendan do something, that doesn't mean you have to do that immediately, right? Like, it should be inspirational. It should be, like, that's the way it was for me. I looked at so many miniatures for so long, and I was not a good painter. Like, I was sloppy and inconsistent, and I couldn't repeat. I had a lot hard time repeating results. But you just get inspired, and you look at what people are doing, and you that should be the motivation. I'm gonna put a little magenta in there too, and a little, there's bow red. maybe a touch of my shadow here. I'm just making a red up. And you get inspired and you get motivated, and you know, you should love and respect what other people are capable of while working on your own goals, because we all got different goals, right? You know, Schick says all the time, like, his goals are not to be a studio painter, so he's not trying to do that, right? My goal was to be a studio level painter, so I worked on it, and I asked questions on what that meant even, right? Like, it's a different approach. Like, just the approach is different. The philosophy is different. And now I don't even studio paint. I've painted 3 characters for the studio for Marvel Crisis Protocol. The rest of them's painted by Brendan or other people. And I'm okay with that. I'm just having fun now. I'm just taking my lessons that I learned and trying to paint for games and for pure enjoyment and education. I truly enjoy the educational aspect of what I get to do. So my path actually changed and switched and evolved. Right? So attitude is 90% of it, right? I've seen amazing, just mind-blowing pieces of miniature art, right? And never once have I said, oh, time to break my brushes, or might as well give up. I'm like, oh, that's amazing, like, what a great idea they had, like, and then I try to take those lessons and apply them, or that inspiration and motivation to go further on my next piece. You know, Miles is what I'm working on right now, but the goal of Miles isn't Miles. The goal of Miles is the next miniature. Does that make sense? Like, how do I make that next miniature better? Whoops. You can say, well, I'm a perfectionist. Well, many people are. But I'm not letting perfection get in the way of lessons and done. Alright, so we got some depth to our red now. How's it looking? I got talking, and I forgot to look at the chat. Greg asked, which ones did I paint? I painted Hela and 2 unannounced characters. Atomic Mass, if you consider making a roster of your choosing, not based on existing team term in the comics, like heavy hitters with Hulk and Elwood. Oh, that's interesting. I don't think so. That's more of a shit question. Not to my knowledge. We like the flavor of stuff. Like, we're here to tell stories and the flavor of the comic or the Marvel universe, right? So that's what's important and drives us. Okay, I'm going in with that pure fire truck red now, right? And I don't need a lot of this. I just want it on the really the upper surfaces. not even going to blend it out. I'm going to basically use layers here. Really want some right around those eyes. Right, really want those areas to stand out. I want that focus on those eyes. Simple layer there. Maybe a simple layer here. So basically I'm just not covering up all the last color. Once again, I'm just using the very tip of my brush, trying to be precise and patient. My brush is a little wonky. So, you know, that's giving that red that depth now, see? Kind of cheat by just focusing on that point where the two webs come together. There you go. Schick is answering these awesome questions. I can answer that one. Becca Marston. I get super excited, and I know several of us do get super excited when we got something coming up, or even at the concept phase. Like, I've had some where I'm concepting them and I'm like, I cannot wait, because, you know, there's always that push in the studio where we are constantly pushing each other to get, you know, to be better and to do more. That's like just a constant state in the studio, right? So when you do something that's like leveled up, quote, quote, and you're just like, oh wow, like, that's what I'm talking about. You get real excited to show the community, right? Because, you know, I mean, A, you're proud of it, and B, it's just really cool. So, you know, of course you want to share it, right? Our enthusiasm for these characters, you know, I really hope it shows through, because I can tell you right now, like, me and Schick and Josh, this was like childhood, right? So our enthusiasm is there, so we love being able to share it with everybody. Like, I love those big level up moments for us too, boy. It's like when we do something and it's like, how would we have even done this 6 months ago, you know? And then you're just like, oh, now we know how to do it, right? Because learning the material and all that stuff. you know, plastic is not an intuitive material. It takes a lot of knowledge and experience. Like, we can definitely do stuff now that we could not do before. All right. Kind of want one more pop on the Spider-Man. Kind of want one more pop on the Spider-Man highlight. Let's doing taxes, I do my taxes for sure. Every year. So I'm going to mix a little magenta and a little white. So what that does is it gives me a pink, right? A very, let me show you my palette here. It's running everywhere. So this is magenta and pink. Am I on the camera? Yeah. Okay. Magenta and pink. If I just add straight white to my red, I'm gonna get like desaturated red. But if I add magenta and white together, I get this like rich pink. So then I'm gonna add that to my red, and that produces a more vibrant highlight for my red without overly desaturating, because I'm putting all that pigment from the magenta in it. And I'm going to just very selectively choose a couple spots that I want to accentuate. Maybe a little bit more of that magenta and pink. Knuckles, fingertips. Always highlight the knuckles and the fingertips. Once again, that philosophy is going to come in right here. So I'm not actually going to highlight the bottom of the fingertips. Right, I just said how I always highlight them, but they're tucked, right? So they're down below. They're under his body. They're under the kind of almost the lip of the mailbox. So I'm actually not going to highlight them with the same value here, because I want those knuckles to show. I want to show that like grip, right? I'm always here on time. What are you talking about? What's the question? What's a mix again to get the black? This was Hold Your Blue glazed over Zenith Prime, and then I shaded into the black. Like I shaded the black on, leaving just a little bit of that, and then I mixed a light blue in with the Hold Your Blue to kind of just tack on some highlights. And you can go back and watch the playback on YouTube, of course, if you need to see that. Alright, of course, this central line on the web, using just the edge of the brush to pop that highlight, just like that, easy peasy. of course the shoulder is right up on the top, just grabbing all the light. So a nice highlight up there. To define that volume, right? To accentuate that shoulder. Oh boy. Let's get a off-white. So I got a little, like a cold gray. Gonna grab a little bit of that white that I pulled out for the magentas. And just a touch of the hold your blue. Whoop, that's a ton of the hold your blue, whatever. Makes a beautiful gray color. And paint the eye of the spider. I mean, I want pancakes. May or may not have a plan to do a group brunch this weekend, consisting of some delicious breakfast foods, maybe considering pancakes. Yeah, something like that. The Black Blind Prophet, it's a zenith highlight, and then I shaded, or I washed it with a blue, and then shaded with black, and then highlighted with some little tiny lines with a little bit of like a light blue and the base blue mixed together. Upside down spiraling. Spider-Man is almost done. I'm gonna go pure white. I rarely go pure white, but this is the moment. Just the tip of the brush to the top of those lenses. Sorry I got quiet there. Tim the boss, I just noticed you aren't using the usual stand. Yeah, I'm because I was doing the underside and doing some like bounce light to like show people how to increase the volume. So I really needed some mobility. So I needed to like be able to switch up and do something there. Let's have fun here. Something like that. A little profile of Spider-Man on the newspaper. We're gonna kind of cheat and like highlight his eye, even though it wouldn't be. I'm gonna make his eye a little bit bigger. Why would you fill a newspaper stand of garbage? Oh my gosh, I got 5 minutes. I need to show the pics. Alright, of course, Daily Bugle, and there's a picture of Spider-Man on the front cover. Because someone needs pictures of Spider-Man. And I can do a little. Alright, we're going to go to the pics. What do y'all think of the Miles Morales now? I think he's done. I think he's ready to go fight crime. I got to do the base to match my bases, but I think honestly for the time we put in, pretty happy. I'm going to pop that toe just a touch. Oh gosh, I made a mess. Alright, so there's our Miles Morales ready to go. The Ghost Spider, I did some highlights on her white just to finish off, and basically what I'll do is on the same thing here, but instead of the blue on her black, I'll go with grays. I want to keep her a little bit different than our boy Miles, so I'll go with grays and do the same kind of highlighting. This was done the exact same way. This was done with the Zenith. I did the black wash over it. I just kept the blue away from it, right? So just going more with the grays and adds more contrast between the two of them, right? And once again, I'll probably put some of that magenta on the bottom of the forms. So you know, maybe bottom of the thigh and bottom of the shin there, bottom of the calf there, just to add to the form. Probably on this side, just to add a little bit of variation there to like define that side. But I'll go with a gray to do the highlights. So that's where we're at on our CP10. Hope you enjoyed it. I love Paladin. I'm in agreement. Ghost Spider is awesome. All right, so let's see what we got here. I made a mess all over my desk when I was washing my brush out. There might be water on my computer. Let me clean that up. All right, so let's go with painting protocol. Hashtag painting protocol. Of course, last month was textures. We're gonna show those right now. This month is, I say month, like seriously, I went to a dentist today. My mouth is a little messed up right now. This month is the Black Order. We want to see them. Go to Instagram, hashtag painting protocol. Show me what you got. But let's start with this. Not that one. This one. So, Glue Paint Play did this awesome Thanos. Really loved the texture on the variation of texture, right? And that's what this was about. Is it's like you got this cool textury rock. It feels like rock. Like I know what my fingers would feel if I touched this throne. I thought it looked really awesome. And then you have this like beautiful smooth blue going against it, right? And then like just talking about the piece in general now, I love this like little hint of like magenta there on the base. Just adds a little flavor. And the gems actually are a different texture, right? So they're very smooth. So, and the golds are very smooth. So you get this like variation of textures across it. So I really like that. Thought it was very cool. It's funny. We got this awesome Black Dwarf. Once again, the texture variation really stood out to me, right? He's got these beautiful dots on the skin. I really enjoyed that. And then these little bone chunks are much smoother. But then you get into this variation here. He's got some texture lines on this on the belt, right? But it's different than the lines on the armor. And even this armor, the shoulder pads treated, feels different than this, right? It's got some little dots to show like some age, but then down here everything's much smoother. So just this collection of textures. And then you can get into the base. The base feels very dry and like real concrete. He's added some static grass to like add that three-dimensional element. I really like that. It adds verticality to the base. I think that's can be very important. So just a lot of nice textures and colors, but we're talking about textures. And the last pick was one Mr. Star-Lord by Tim DeBoss, who I know is in here. I love all the textures on this. This coat just feels very old to me. And these dark brown belts feel like a smooth leather, but this feels like a very rough leather. Then you got this nice clean shirt. You got these nice pants. You got this like textury old, like this feels like ancient brass armor shin guards, which I think is really, really dope. And then of course the fire, right? You get this like texture and this little bit of light. So just a fun look. And then this like perfectly, like I wish I could see this gun better, but I love this like perfectly smooth right hand gun, the one that's like laid flat parallel to the camera there. It's like this perfectly smooth, polished underside of his blasters. And I think that's really nice, right? It adds that textural element against the gun, right? So, you know, when we get into all this, philosophically, what you have going on there is there's multiple types of textures. There's temperature texture or contrast. There's temperature contrast. There's textural contrast. there's color contrast, there's value contrast, right? So you have all these different types of contrast. It's not just bright and dark, right? It's bright and dark, rough and smooth, hot and cold. And then when you add, the more of those different textural contrasts you add to a miniature, the more artistic they become, the more interesting they are to they become to the eye. And your eye wants to travel around and be like, oh, look how smooth this is. Oh, look how rough this is. Oh, look how like this dark against this light works. Then like look at this coolness against this warmness. So the more that you give, the more interesting the piece becomes. The more energetic, the more lifelike, right? Because that's what it's about, right? I mean, obviously my head is very smooth, especially since I just shaved it. It's very polished, but my shirt is very soft, right? And you can tell by the light reflecting, right? Even if I brought my shoulder up to the level of my head, it doesn't reflect the same amount of light, and that's because of the textural contrast. So keeping those concepts in mind and learning how to use them is very interesting and very, very useful for you as a miniature painter. And that's what those show, right? That's what those 3 entries showed, and the ones that Schick showed, is that contrast between all the elements using texture. So that's what we were really looking for, and it was really awesome seeing everybody. We had a ton of entries again. I assuming with the Black Order, we're gonna get even more. So don't forget to get those in. Hashtag Painting Protocol over on Instagram. We want to see your Black Order. Hope everybody enjoyed the Spider-Man and Ghost Spider painting. I know I enjoyed painting Miles. He was sweet. And I'm enjoying painting Ghost Spider. Super sweet. So when I get those done, I'll post them up on some social media and show them off to everybody. Remember, join in Schick next Tuesday. I don't know what he's painting. I think he's done with Green Goblin. I'll finish this up too. I myself am a bit of a miniature painter. I love that line. I think it's so good. So Schick will be on Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, painting something fun and exciting. And I'll be back next Thursday with something fun and exciting. Who knows what it is? I have to look at the schedule and prep something. Who knows? So until then, be safe, be a hero, and have fun. Take care of one another. We'll catch you later. Bye, guys.